Be ready. 15 seconds. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Sir, I am extremely grateful to the honorable members who have participated in the discussion and expressed their views on the interim budget which I presented in the House yesterday. We have had a fruitful discussion on this subject. This is a routine exercise. The House is aware that I have come with the interim budget and I am pleading with the House to pass the vote on account for 4 months under very exceptional circumstances. I would like to place on record that what I have presented to the House is not my own creation. This government cannot be held responsible for what has transpired in the year which is going by. There was another government in power. Most of us on this side of the house who are sitting on the treasury benches were in the opposition then, and most of the honorable members who are sitting on the other side of the house were either in the government or were supporting the government from outside. It is that government's work that we are discussing are the same. I placed before the House yesterday. Now, sir, I have said very clearly that the revised budget estimates and the budget estimates for the next financial year do not reflect the thinking and the priorities of my government. I have said in my budget speech that it is our firm resolve to review the 5-year plan and to revise the budget estimates so that they reflect our thinking and priorities when I come before the August House with my regular budget. That will be the time for you to judge us. That will be the time for you to judge our intentions. And that will be the time for you to judge our actions. As I said, this is not my creation, but in a parliamentary system, we are often faced with a situation where the existing government has to carry on with the legacy which has been left behind by the previous government. My next point is we have talked about in our national agenda for governance that we believe in having a consensus. A point has been made in this house by one of the honorable members that we should have the same kind of consensus in regard to economic policies that we have developed over a period of time in our foreign affairs and defense policies. I see no reason why this House cannot evolve such consensus. I am pleading strongly that we must evolve that consensus so that the economic policy, which has become a major tool for the progress of this country, is not subject to the vagaries of the situation. We must have a consensus, and I think we are very close to it. Sir, we were criticized by many people that we did not follow the path followed by East European countries. We were criticized in this house, we were criticized in this country that we did not follow the path followed by those countries. There was a thinking at that point of time that it was the best model of development. That model of development has collapsed. Then we were told that the countries of South Asia were the best models of development and India should follow those models of development. Now they too have collapsed today. They are going round the world with begging bowl. Therefore, I would like to emphasize before this house that the only model of economic development that India can follow is the Indian model of development. There is no model in the world which Indian can follow successfully except the model which we must devise ourselves on the basis of the concepts which have been handed down to us by the great leaders of the past. If we do that, then consensus building will not be difficult. The honorable members have talked about foreign investment. I hope the honorable members are aware that foreign investment at the best of time has played only a marginal role in our economy. I have absolutely no hesitation in stating on behalf of the government that my government welcomes the foreign investment. But this kind of investment in India is welcome in certain areas which we call priority areas, including infrastructure. We are not interested in areas where we do not need it and they are interested to come to our country for their own profit. Unfortunately, I do not have the time to go into the details. The demand for level playing field by the Indian industry has arisen not from our party, but it was raised by the Indian industry itself. I am not saying that we believe in the level playing field also. But I have said, and I would like to say on the floor of this house, that this government should not accord to the foreign investors any privilege or any concession which is not available to the Indian industry. This point has been discussed in the cabinet and the same view is expressed in the President's address to both the houses of Parliament. Sir, some honorable members have made a number of points during the discussion of the budget in the House. I do not have time to go into all of them. I plead to the honorable members to bear with me. I have not taken all the points which have been made and I will be able to clear the position of my government on those points when I will present the budget of my government in the next session. In that budget, our government's thinking for the development of the country may be seen in every field, especially for the poor people who live below the poverty line and farmers of the country. Sir, with these few words, I conclude my speech and request the honorable members of this House to pass this interim budget. At last, I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.